The Dutch Grand Prix will not be decided on Sunday alone. It could be decided on Friday afternoon when the first sprint qualifying session starts after just 1 hour of practice. That is the first thing to understand about this weekend. Formula One is coming back from the summer break. Several teams are bringing important upgrades, and Zandvoort is hosting a sprint for the first time. That makes Friday the first big deadline of the weekend. The 4.259 14-corner circuit moves through the dunes with very little room to relax. It is narrow, overtaking is difficult, and a bad FP1 setup can leave a team starting the sprint from the wrong end of the grid. And this matters even more because the top teams are not arriving with the same cars they used before the break. McLaren are one of the main stories. Lando Norris won in Hungary, giving McLaren its first Grand Prix victory of the season. That was not just a good result. It came with the first part of a development package, and the team is due to complete that package at Zandvoort. The question for McLaren is whether Hungary was the start of something bigger or simply a circuit that suited the car. Zandvoort also needs downforce, but it has faster direction changes, banking, and a more exposed surface. Another strong weekend would make the Hungary win much harder to dismiss as a one-off. Oscar Piastri also arrives with a good memory of this place. He won the Dutch Grand Prix last year after McLaren had already taken victory here with Norris in 2024. So this is a circuit where McLaren have recent proof that they can be competitive, but McLaren will not get a quiet weekend to prove it. Mercedes still lead both championships. Kimi Antonelli comes back from the break with a 50-point lead over Lewis Hamilton and a 59-point lead over his Mercedes teammate George Russell. That sounds comfortable, but Mercedes themselves are not talking like a team that thinks the job is done. Toto Wolff has said the team left points on the table before the summer break and that rivals have closed the gap. Mercedes had planned a more sizable upgrade for the first race back, and its own preview says it is slightly out of step with the development pace of some rivals. Mercedes know an early lead does not guarantee anything with 12 rounds left. Ferrari and McLaren have made progress, and Zandvoort is a different challenge from Hungary. Can Mercedes understand new parts in one practice session and still protect Antonelli's lead? That is the second deadline. Ferrari are difficult to judge right now, which makes them very interesting. Ferrari were expected to be strong in Hungary, but did not quite deliver, with Leclerc 4th and Hamilton 5th. Zandvoort could still suit them because it rewards grip and a stable rear end more than pure straight line speed. Ferrari have won twice this season. Now they need their pace to travel from circuit to circuit. For Hamilton, that matters immediately. He returns 50 points behind Antonelli, so a strong Ferrari weekend would not settle the title fight, but it could stop that gap from becoming much harder to manage. Then there is Aston Martin, and their situation is very clear. The team brought a major chassis package to Hungary, where Fernando Alonso reached Q2 for the first time all year. Now Honda are bringing an updated power unit for Zandvoort. Honda says the new specification should give Aston Martin a better chance of joining the midfield fight and competing for points. That is an important detail. Honda have not promised a podium. They have not confirmed a big horsepower number. The target is to put Aston Martin back into a proper points battle. The new Honda unit has been run during a filming day, but Zandvoort is its first competitive weekend. The team will be watching more than just top speed. They need the engine, battery and car to work smoothly together through the fast corners and on the exits of the banked turns. A new power unit can bring performance, but it can also take time to understand. With only one practice session, Aston Martin have very little room to waste. A driver who starts the sprint poorly can lose points, but a team that learns quickly can still rescue the more valuable qualifying session. The third deadline is grip. Zandvoort is unusual because the track can change very quickly. The circuit sits near the North Sea and sand can blow onto the asphalt. That means grip can be different from one session to the next. Pirelli also says the circuit has low grip to begin with and that the banking creates very high loads through turns 3 and 14. The downforce level needed is close to Hungary, but the banking and the wind make the balance less straightforward. A car that turns well in one session can suddenly slide the next if the wind direction changes or sand returns to the racing line. The tyre compounds this weekend are C2, C3 and C4, hard, medium and soft. Pirelli believes the hard should be the main reference tyre for the Grand Prix, while the two softer compounds could be useful in the shorter sprint. The sprint format makes this harder. Teams must decide which tyres to save and which compound to use in sprint qualifying with only 1 hour of data. If the track is dusty at the start of Friday, lap times will improve quickly, and the team that reads that change best can gain positions without a faster car. And there is another part of the weather story that could change everything. The current forecast is cool and unsettled. Friday and Saturday have the better chance of showers, while Sunday currently looks more likely to be dry, with temperatures around 18 to 20 degrees across the weekend. But Zandvoort weather can change quickly, especially with the sea so close. Wind will matter too, because these 2026 cars are sensitive to how air moves around the car. Formula One has not had a fully wet competitive session with the 2026 cars yet. If it rains, drivers, engineers and strategists will all be learning how the new cars and energy systems behave in lower grip conditions at the same time. That matters most if FP1 is affected. A wet Friday would leave teams with almost no dry running data before sprint qualifying, so they would be guessing at ride height, tyre preparation and energy settings when conditions improve. That is why the weather is not just something to mention at the end of a preview. It could change which team looks strongest. McLaren's new package could be quick in the dry, but harder to understand in a wet first practice. Mercedes' new parts could work brilliantly, but one bad guess on pressure or ride height could leave Antonelli fighting traffic in the sprint. Ferrari could benefit if the cooler conditions help their tyres. Aston Martin could get a chance to score if the field gets mixed up. And Max Verstappen could become very dangerous if the weather turns messy at his home race. Verstappen is the fourth deadline, emotion versus reality. This is expected to be the final Dutch Grand Prix in the current Zandvoort run. The race returned in 2021 and Verstappen won the first 3 editions. He then saw Norris win in 2024 and Piastri win in 2025. This year is likely to be his last scheduled home event at this circuit, and the Orange Army will make the place feel completely different from any other race weekend. Red Bull are not clear favourites. Verstappen has not won yet this season, although he was second in Hungary. But Zandvoort rewards driver confidence and qualifying position, and strange weather can bring him into play even if Red Bull are not quickest on pure pace. The 5th and final deadline is Saturday afternoon. The sprint will tell us who understood Friday best, but sprint points are not the main prize. Grand Prix qualifying happens later that same day, and that is where the weekend can really be won or lost. Watch who gets their car sorted early, whether McLaren's Hungary speed travels, whether Mercedes' upgrade keeps Antonelli in control, and how Aston Martin's Honda unit performs. This is a compressed weekend where the team making the fewest mistakes could be the one celebrating on Sunday.